If you walked into a house in the 1980s, you'd instantly notice the difference. The colors, the sounds, the furniture, even the smells. Homes back then had their own personality, filled with gadgets and decorations that told the story of the times. Today, we're counting down the top 10 things that have disappeared from houses since the 80s. Some were replaced by technology, others by changing styles. But all of them bring back a wave of nostalgia. Let's begin. Number 10. Big box televisions. In the 1980s, many homes featured a large, heady box television set. It was often encased in wood or wood-toned materials, sometimes built into a cabinet or entertainment unit. The screen was curved, the back deep, and the overall piece took up significant floor space. Remote controls were common, but the size of the cabinet made the TV also a piece of furniture. Over time, flat-screen technology arrived. Televisions became lighter, wall-mounted and much thinner, and the large box television gave way to sleek displays. The large box form is now mostly gone from modern homes. Number 9. VHS tapes and VCRs. In the 80s, watching a movie at home was a big deal. You'd head to the local video rental store, pick out a VHS tape, and hope the last person remembered to rewind it. The phrase, "Be kind, rewind," was everywhere. The VCR sat proudly under the TV, blinking 12 o'clock, because no one ever set the clock. It was a time when physical media ruled, and there was something magical about holding a movie in your hands. Today, streaming has made everything instant. But that ritual, picking a tape, sliding it in, and waiting for it to load, was part of the experience that made movie nights special. Number 8. The landline telephone. Every home had at least one landline, usually mounted on the wall or sitting on a hallway table. You'd recognize that curly cord stretching across the room when someone wanted privacy. Families used to share one phone number, so if someone was talking too long, others would shout, "I need the phone." Long-distance calls were expensive, and calling after 9 p.m. to save money was completely normal. Today, cell phones have made communication easier than ever. But there was something personal about those old conversations. Waiting for a call, hearing the ring echo through the house, and actually having to answer it without knowing who was on the other end. Number 7. The arcade-style game consoles. Gaming in the 80s was a world of flashing lights and beeping sounds. Systems like the Atari 2600 and the original Nintendo Entertainment System were revolutionary. The cartridges were big, the graphics were simple, and the joy was endless. If a game didn't start, the universal fix was to blow into the cartridge and try again. Kids would spend hours playing Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Super Mario Bros., often sitting cross-legged on the carpet in front of the TV. Today's games are massive and online, but those early consoles created memories that shaped an entire generation of gamers. Number 6. Lace curtains and heavy drapes. In the 1980s, home decor was all about texture and layers. Lace curtains, thick drapes, floral patterns, and matching upholstery were everywhere. Windows weren't just windows, they were a design statement. The curtains often matched the wallpaper, and there was nothing minimalist about it. It felt warm, cozy, and lived in. Modern homes lean towards simplicity, blinds, neutral tones, and open spaces. But back then, the more patterns you mixed, the better. Walking into a home meant being surrounded by color and personality, not just empty white walls. Number 5. Boomboxes and cassette players. Music in the 80s had a physical presence. Every home had a boombox or a cassette player sitting on a shelf or dresser. You'd record songs from the radio, make your own mixtapes, and share them with friends. the sound of the tape clicking, the occasional rewind squeal. It was all part of the experience. Teenagers carried their music everywhere, blasting their favorite hits from the latest Michael Jackson album or a mix of 80s rock. Now, streaming puts millions of songs in your pocket. But the feeling of pressing play on a cassette and hearing that first note was something truly special. Number 4. TV cabinets and entertainment centers. If you had a living room in the 80s, chances are it had a giant entertainment center. These were massive wooden structures that held everything: the TV, the VCR, the stereo system, stacks of videotapes, and maybe even a few family photos. Some had glass doors, others had drawers, and all of them were heavy enough to last a lifetime. The entertainment center was the heart of the home. Today, we mount a single flat screen on the wall, maybe with a slim soundbar underneath. It's cleaner, sure, but it's lost that sense of presence. The feeling that the entertainment center was the command hub of the house. Number 3. Address books and Rolodexes. Before smartphones and cloud storage, people kept their contacts in handwritten books. Every home had an address book, usually next to the landline. You'd write down names, numbers, and addresses, sometimes with doodles or notes in the margins. Some people had Rolodexes, especially if they worked from home. Flipping through those cards had a strange satisfaction. And if someone changed their number, you'd cross it out and write a new one in pen. Today, your phone remembers everything for you. But there was something genuine about seeing the ink fade over time, showing how long those connections had lasted. Number 2. Wood paneling. No 80s home was complete without wood paneling. From basements to living rooms, those vertical strips of dark wood covered the walls. It was a signature look, cozy, rustic, and unmistakably retro. Sometimes it made rooms look smaller, but it also made them feel warm. Homeowners today prefer bright paint and open spaces, but that old paneling still has a nostalgic charm. Step into a home that hasn't changed since the 80s, and you'll instantly be transported back in time. Number 1. The formal living room. Every house had one, a pristine space that no one was allowed to use. The formal living room had spotless carpets, carefully arranged furniture, and maybe even plastic covers on the sofa. It was meant for guests, but most guests never came. Kids knew better than to step foot in there without permission. It was the symbol of a proper home, even if it was barely used. Over the years, open-concept living and casual design replaced it with family rooms and entertainment spaces. The formal living room faded away, taking with it a sense of quiet elegance that rarely exists in homes today. Homes have evolved, but the spirit of the 80s still lingers in our memories. The sounds, the textures, the little rituals of everyday life. They remind us that comfort once came from connection, not convenience. Maybe we've traded warmth for technology, but deep down, we still miss the feeling of flipping a light switch and hearing the hum of a cassette deck nearby. Which of these things do you remember from your home growing up? Tell us in the comments. And if this trip down memory lane brought back a smile, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more nostalgia, because the 80s may be gone, but the memories live on.